Hello, and welcome to a chapter today. It is Monday, July 1st, first day of the new month of July. Oh, wow. So, we are still in the book of Deuteronomy, and we are going to be reading chapter 15, more of Moses's pre-warnings to the children of Israel before they go into the promised land, so that they do not repeat the same mistakes that they did within the 40 years that they were in the wilderness. So, let's see what he's telling them here. At the end of every 7 years, thou shalt make a release, and this is the manner of the release. Every creditor that lendeth aught unto his neighbor shall release it. He shall not exact it of his neighbor or of his brother, because it is called the Lord's release. Of a foreigner thou mayest exact it again, but that which is thine with thy brother thine hand shall release. Save when there shall be no poor among you, for the Lord shall greatly bless thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it. Only if thou carefully hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all these commandments which I command thee this day. For the Lord thy God blesseth thee as he promised thee, and thou shalt lend unto many nations, but thou shalt not borrow. And thou shalt reign over many nations, but they shall not reign over thee. If there be among you a poor man of one of thy brethren within any of thy gates in thy land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not harden thine heart, nor shut thine hand from thy poor brother. But thou shalt open thine hand wide unto him, and shalt surely lend him sufficient for his need in that which he wanteth. Beware that there be not a thought in thy wicked heart, saying, The 7th year, the year of release, is at hand, and thine eye be evil against thy poor brother, and thou givest him naught, and he cry unto the Lord against thee, and it be a sin unto thee. Thou shalt surely give him, and thine heart shall not be grieved when thou givest unto him, because that for this thing the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all thy works, and in all that thou puttest thine hand unto. For the poor shall never cease out of the land. Therefore I command thee, saying, Thou shalt open thine hand wide unto thy brother, to thy poor, and to thy needy in thy land. And if thy brother, an Hebrew man or an Hebrew woman, be sold unto thee, and serve thee 6 years, then in the 7th year thou shalt let him go free from thee. And when thou sendest him out free from thee, thou shalt not let him go away empty. Thou shalt furnish him liberally out of thy flock, and out of thy floor, and out of thy winepress, of that wherewith the Lord thy God hath blessed thee, thou shalt give unto him. And thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondman in the land of Egypt, and the Lord thy God redeemed thee. Therefore I command thee this thing today. And it shall be, if he say unto thee, I will not go away from thee, because he loveth thee and thine house, because he is well with thee, then thou shalt take an awl and thrust it through his ear unto the door, and he shall be thy servant forever. And also unto thy maidservant thou shalt do likewise. It shall not seem hard unto thee when thou sendest him away free from thee, for he hath been worth a double hired servant to thee, in serving thee 6 years. And the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all that thou doest. All the firstling males that come to thy herd and of thy flock thou shalt sanctify unto the Lord thy God. Thou shalt do no work with the firstling of thy bullock, nor share the firstling of thy sheep. Thou shalt eat it before the Lord thy God year by year in the place which the Lord shall choose, thou and thy household. And if there be any blemish therein, as if it be lame or blind, or have any ill blemish, thou shalt not sacrifice it unto the Lord thy God. Thou shalt eat it within thy gates. The unclean and the clean person shall eat it alike, as the roebuck and as the hart. Only thou shalt not eat the blood thereof. Thou shalt pour it upon the ground as water. And that is the end of chapter 15 of Deuteronomy. These are reiterations for certain ordinances that God had already given them in place in previous chapters. Like the seventh year is like a Sabbath year. The land is supposed to rest. Any debts that are being owed are supposed to be forgiven. That's why I said, you know what, if people were to follow institutions, financial institutions, etc., were to follow God's way, I think it would be a lot better for all of us. 7 years, and then you release someone's debt. I believe here in the US, I heard it's 10 years if you have a debt to be released. After 10 years, then it's off the books. In the Bible, it said the seventh year, and it should be gone. Um, Leave something back for the poor. It's always like Jesus said right in the New Testament. God is saying it here in the Old. You're going to have the poor. The poor shall not cease out of the land. You'll always have poor people with you. And sometimes I know we leave and we go way across the oceans to go and help poor people. And we are the wrong us in our backyard sometimes, right next door to us. We have people who need help, but sometimes we don't know. So wherever we can help people, let's do it. And it's always better to start at home. Sometimes in your own family, people need help, and we're like, oh no, you should go get a job. You should do this. You should do that. Why didn't you put your money aside and all that nonsense? It's a difference if someone is not willing to work and if they are really having a hard time. There's no harm in helping a brother. And I mean a literal brother. Um, Slaves were allowed to go free also at the seventh year unless they decided they would stay with the master, whether a maidservant or manservant. Then the master would pierce their ear with an awl. I believe it's some sort of a metal ring through the doorpost, and that person will remain their slave forever as they wished. The firstling of the flocks were not to be used for work. They were holy unto God. That's what God said. The firstborn male of every living thing was supposed to be offered to him. It belonged to him. So they were not supposed to take it and use it nor share it. It was supposed to remain as God's all the time. And that's it. That's it. Again, God told them, don't offer me your lame and blind and blemished sacrifices. So don't give me the worst of your things. Give me the best. Give of your best to the master. Don't know if you ever heard that song. And that's the end of our reading for today. Again, faith comes by hearing God's word. Until our next reading, have a great day. Bye.